Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in the channel today. First off, I want to thank everybody that has supported the channel. It has been growing here in the past couple weeks. The subscribers have really jumped up. I believe it's up to about 1,400%, and that's without the jump in subscribers over the past 24 hours. So I want to give a big shout out to all you guys for supporting the channel and just thank you. And if you guys would, I'm not sure how many people are going to like this video, because it is over Front Facing Sonar and should it be banned. But before I get it started, if you guys would, just hit like the video if you guys like the content I'm putting out, which there might be some dislikes on this video, but I'm expecting that. I've waited a while to put this video up there because of this, but I'm going to do it and put my views out there, how I feel on the live scope and front facing sonar. And if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, or if you want to unsubscribe to the channel after this video, you can go ahead and do that as well. Okay, to start off with, before I get started, I have always grown up that fishing is instincts. Okay, instincts meaning, if you guys look up the definition of instincts, I don't know the exact definition, but it's going to say feeling something that is there without knowing it is there. That is fishing in the water, and you're looking at something and you can see a bass underneath the water. You can feel it. You can sense that there is a fish under that water. That means you can't see it, none of that. So that's how I've always grew up fishing. That's how I felt. I've always liked to fish offshore. So that's even before the electronics, before side scan, before 360, before all that stuff. I love fishing offshore and finding offshore brush piles or fishing trees, etc. I love fishing offshore. So let's get into this. So the first thing is, should live scope or front facing sonar be banned in bass tournaments? And the question I want everybody to ask themselves first, right now, is live bait legal in bass tournaments? You're going to answer that question and say no. So now I want you to ask yourself, why is live bait not banned or banned from bass tournaments? Why is it banned? It's banned because they felt it was too easy for anybody. Anybody could just throw live bait out there and catch a fish. That's what front facing sonar is doing to the bass fishing world. I mean, it's sad. Like when I was down there at the Bassmaster Team Championship at Lake Hartwell, about 90 to 95% of the guys were all offshore. I mean, there wasn't nobody on the banks. Everybody was offshore, and if you was not offshore, well, you most likely didn't do very good, because everybody was offshore. Them fish were in the trees. And it does help. Front-facing sonar, guys, everybody that says, oh, you still got to catch the fish, 80 to 90% of bass fishing was finding the fish. And then you had to find them. You had to catch one to know they was there. You couldn't just go there and just be like, oh, right here, I see them all right here. I just can't get them to bite today. I know they're here, and come back later. I mean, you had to feel that. If you went there, you didn't catch a fish there, you're thinking, oh, there ain't no fish here. So you actually had to catch those fish to know they was there before this stuff existed. So the answer is no, it should not be allowed, because it is taking so much out of bass fishing. It is taking instincts out. I just hate going fishing now because I got the front-facing sonar and I got to use it to compete, and I hate looking at the stupid screen all day. I mean, it's not why I fish. It's just taking all the reasons away from why I fished and why I fished bass tournaments. But I have to use it to be competitive, or it's not going to work unless, water's up in the bushes, something like that, where you can go up and flip bushes. But like on an instance like Hartwell Bassmaster Team Championship, the water was 9-10 foot down. There wasn't hardly nothing in the water. There were docks that weren't even in the water. So, I mean, that's where that comes in. And another thing is all the things they've banned over the years. They banned trolling. You can't go trolling because that's just not, bass fishing. Bass fishing is knowing what is there. To me, is knowing what's underneath the water without seeing it, just like finding brush piles. And I'm not a fan of side imaging either. A lot of guys say, oh, a lot of these guys are for side imaging. And me, I did not like side imaging. When that came out either, I did not support that movement either. I don't support 360. That is all just taking away things. And now I've heard people say, oh, when topo maps came out. Topo maps don't help you catch fish, guys. Topo maps do not help you find fish. They help you navigate. They help you see the contour lines, find flats, but they do not find the fish for you. You take side imaging. That's going to find your structure for you. A topo map, you can't look on a topo map and go, oh, there's a brush pile sitting there. You have to get out on the water and you have to go out and see that. And that side imaging allowed that. And why I don't like the side imaging is when guys go out and I see pros talking and they say, I spent my 2.5-day practice just idling around marking brush piles with my side imaging units. That is when it's time to ban that. Once people start relying on that 100%, and that is helping almost, 80 to 90% of the field win bass tournaments, that's when it gets too easy, guys. So we need to get back to the basics here. And you guys might think you're calling me crazy, but I want to talk about Todd Castledine, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. I watched a video from him, and he made a great point. We're going to lose a lot of viewers. Right now, we're gaining a lot, and our sport is getting bigger. But we're going to start going backwards because we're getting too much technology. One of the biggest reasons behind that is that, like he said, is these people are watching when we're getting viewers, and that's how they're getting more money from sponsors, is from the viewers and live stream and people watching those live streams. And we're able to get more live streams now. We're getting more sponsors to back that because of the people watching the live stream. Once we start getting rid of the live stream, and once people stop watching that, and they're going to stop watching it, and this is why, like Todd Castledine said, when somebody is up there just staring down at the screen the whole time, they're not talking to the audience that is listening on a computer or a phone. They're just looking at their screen, focusing on catching that fish. They're not talking, they're not casting out and dragging a jig back or working a jerkbait back and talking to the viewers on what they're doing and why they are doing it. They're just sitting there looking at a screen, and I have seen this all over posts, and people say they're sick of watching people just with their head down. They can't even watch it no more because the guys are just looking at their screens. And that is going to take our viewers down, and that is going to run our sport, and it's going to run viewers away, which is going to run sponsors away. Yeah, we got the sponsors there in the electronics, but we're going to lose the sponsors other than those electronics because our viewers are going to go away. We need to look at the bigger picture here, and we need to look further into the future of our sport and not what is happening at the moment. So let's get into here, and people say, oh, but you still got to catch the fish. And then they say, you got to evolve with technology. I completely disagree, guys. Look at Major League Baseball, okay? Let's look at it from the time it started till now. I want you to look at it. They still use wooden bats. When you get to the professional level, you have to use a wooden bat. It has to be an approved wooden bat. It has to be the same as everybody else's wooden bat. There can't be anything different about that wooden bat. You can't have a metal bat. Why don't we just give them metal bats and let them all hit home runs? You still got to hit the ball, right? Well, absolutely not, because that's not baseball, guys. That's taking the sport out of baseball. Then let's get into here. Another big one with technology was stealing signs. Well, yes, they've been stealing signs for years, which was legal for the second baseman, to steal a sign and tell him where the pitch was going. But catchers would get smart, and the pitchers would, and they would change those signs when somebody was on second base. But when the Astros started doing that because of technology, because of cameras, and they started doing that, there was no way for the pitcher or the catcher to know that. And that's where technology came in. And that's where they said, here is a, I forget what they call it, but they put it in their ear or their hat or their ear. And it's a telecom or a pitch comm. That's what it is. So, and people say, oh, that's technology. Well, that technology evolved because people found ways to cheat. That was not to make the game. It was not technology to help anybody really do any better. I mean, really, you think live scope would be more like taking performance-enhancing drugs. Everybody can take them. But no, they ban that. Or the sticky substances. Everybody is available to that sticky substance, for throwing the ball, but they said no, absolutely not. Another great example is the shift. Okay, this one right here is no different than live scope or front-facing sonar, guys. The shift. The shift is being banned next year in baseball. And the technology was there, and they started catching on because the statistics showed where a batter was going to hit the ball, to the left side or the right side, so they would shift all the players to that side because the statistics said this guy hits the ball over there 97.3% of the time or whatever it was, so they would shift him over there, and they would get that guy out. I mean, why didn't they say, oh, why can't the hitter just hit better? You know, that's what you're saying with live scope. Oh well, just go get it and fish better. No, it's taking the sport out of it, guys. And that's why they banned that. That is absolutely no difference. That is what I like about Major League Baseball is they have seen all these and technology is there, but they haven't changed over all these years. It is all the same. Yeah, they got reviews now, but that's completely different. Now that's nothing to do with what we're talking about here. That does not help any players. That's just like, why don't we go out and the pitcher just tell the batter what pitch is coming? I mean, there you go. You still got to hit the ball, even though some people, they only got a fastball. That's all they got to worry about, but they're not telling them where they're throwing that ball. They're throwing it outside, they're throwing it inside, they're throwing it low, or they're throwing it high. That's what live scope is in bass fishing, is it's showing you where the fish are. Are they high in the water column? Are they low in the water column? I mean, when you can actually, and for anybody that don't have front-facing sonar, you can see them, you can drop your bait if you're vertical fishing right down to that fish, and you can watch it come up and eat your lure. Yes, it's in sonar, but it's still sonar signals, but you can still see that blob, which is a fish, come out and eat your lure, and you can see your lure. You can see it all happen, guys. And that's just taking all the fun and instincts out of it, and it is going to ruin our sport. Another part of this, and I get ripped on social media for this as well, is it's killing the working man, which everybody says, oh, the working man. Yeah, the working man is always getting screwed out of everything. You know, us, and they're like, oh, just work harder. There's some people that we put in that work, but we just don't have the resources available to go out and get all that extra money, guys. We have the talent, but we just can't. There's a lot of guys that just don't have the money or resources to get that. So they go out and they can't afford that. So that's also driving the price up. And if you'll go into bass tournaments now, from when I started fishing bass tournaments, about 20 years ago, when I first got my first bass boat, there wasn't the technology there is now, and not the boats. I mean, you've seen guys in smaller boats, older boats, guys in newer boats. Now you go fish like a Bassmaster Open or Toyota Series, guys, and it's guys in almost newer boats everywhere. Newer trucks, newer boats. Me, if nobody knows me, I'm kind of, I fish out of a 17-foot Pro Craft, been to a Bassmaster Open in them. Took checks in Toyota Series in my 17-foot Pro Craft. A lot of people call me crazy, but hey, I am that working man. I am that man. I put in the work. I do have the live scope now. I hate it. So everybody said, oh, well, you don't have it. You're just crying because you don't have it. You don't know what it's like. It's not that easy. Yes, guys, it is that easy. I have it. And yes, it is that easy. That is what happens. So no, it should not be allowed. We need to run it out of the sport. I fish a club in Columbus, Kansas. Here, our local club actually has outlawed live scope, so that's pretty cool in there, and it all goes off of instinct. I mean, that is what more trails need to start doing before it gets too late, and we run a lot of our viewers off, and we run our sponsors off because we couldn't see it coming. I mean, and I'm also not for spot lock either. I'm not for 360. I'm not for spot lock because spot lock takes away from your ability. It's called boat control. That is a bass fishing skill, guys. Boat control is a skill. Running that trolling motor, keeping on those fish. When you catch a fish, you can't just, like me, I don't have spot lock. Just like when I was at Lake Hartwell, I'd catch a fish, and I couldn't just spot lock right there on that school of fish. I got blown off when I would catch that fish. So I had to find my way back to that spot. I couldn't just hit spot lock once I caught that fish and just sit there. That was not possible for me. That was boat control. Boat control is being taken away. That's just like this new spot lock front-facing sonar. You can spot lock and then keep your sonar faced where you want it to face. They got the new where you can lock it on the structure. I mean, it's just getting out of hand. What's coming next? 360 live, guys? I mean, let's get real here and let's get on the same page. And I'm probably going to get ripped for this because I guess I am a nobody. I am not a professional. I have taken checks at the semi-pro level, but never at the pro level. And another thing is, like I said, it's running the working man out. And look what it's done since it came in. The Bassmaster Opens now, you used to be able to fish 3 and be able to qualify for the Elite Series. That's gone now. That is all a part of this movement of the electronics is moving the guys with more money into it. It's kind of like NASCAR. It's just moving. You get guys more wealthy coming in, And the little man just keeps getting pushed further and further back, just like that with the Bassmasters. They push that back where you got to fish all 9, and a lot of guys say, oh, they did that because guys would come on here and guys would fail. Well, that's a process, guys. That's part of it. That's just like a guy going to a junior college and then getting drafted out of a junior college going to the NFL. Does he have to go play 4 years? No, he can get drafted straight out of a junior college. Should he have to go play 8 years in college or something like that? No. This just don't exist in any other sport, but these people just want to say this. I mean, so the guy fishes 3 tournaments on his home lakes. So he goes there and he don't make it. Okay, that's part of the process. That's how it is. But let's keep it where the small working man can get in it too. The working man has a shot. It is impossible for a working man to fish 9 events, guys. Not because of the money, because of the time off. I don't know about you guys, but I get a max of 3 weeks vacation. And that's max. That's pretty much max for every working man around. How are you going to take 9 weeks off of work unless you own your own business? Which I plan to retire with my own business here shortly within the next 10 years and do just that. But you'll have to own your own business to do that, guys. And it should not be that way. And I speak for all those other people out there. I have the opportunities to do some of this stuff, but I don't forget where I came from. Like I have seen some guys that talked. He actually owns a company that sells all this stuff in electronics. And he said, I used to stand at boat ramps, and wait. So I've been there before. I know how that feels. And you just got to get out and put the work in. And it's that's the wrong way of looking at that. If you were standing at the boat ramp without a boat begging somebody to take you fishing, you need to put yourself back in that spot and bring yourself back down to that level. Put yourself at that level again and have those opportunities for those guys. All because you're making a killing off the electronics. And we're not saying, take it away for fun fishing. Maybe you even keep it there for practice, but have them go out and catch these fish in a tournament without that front-facing sonar live scope. Just like the team championship at Lake Hartwell this year. The guy was saying, the kid or guy that won, I think he's 26. I say kid, I'm only like 34. But he said that he caught him, and one of the fish he caught, he said he let the bait sit there for a minute because he's seen the fish looking at it. Let's see somebody do that from instincts, to know that fish is out there and let that bait just sit there for a minute. When you know that fish, just not being able to see that fish, you just feel that. That's instincts. And would that fish been caught? How many fish would have been caught without that front-facing sonar? And guys say, oh, well, they've been doing this for years with 2D sonar. Yes, you're right, they have, but it wasn't live, guys. It's not like it is now. And there was not as many people out doing it, and to do it was a true skill to do that. I'm an offshore guy, and I could do a lot of that. And I was really good at finding offshore stuff before electronics came out. And electronics got good. And a lot of people want to call these people that stand up for this washed up pros. I'm on board with them. They want to say, quit beating the dead horse. You're just beating a dead horse. It ain't going to change anything. I will tell you one thing. There ain't nothing going to get changed if we don't start speaking up. So I'm going to speak out there. I might not be nobody, but I'm going to speak out there on it because that's how I feel, guys. These other sports have not evolved with technology, just like Major League Baseball. They have not evolved because of that technology is there. I mean, there's metal bats that can smash a home run every time you hit the ball, and they don't allow it. There's the shift. They banned it. They don't allow it. I mean, it's got to be all the same, guys. And just keep it. I mean, let's get rid of the front-facing sonar. Let's get back to the basics, and let's see who actually has the knowledge and instincts to catch those fish without actually seeing those fish. Even get rid of the side scan. I am not for those either. And 360, it's just all taking it away and taking instincts out of the sport, guys. That's my biggest concern, is taking the instincts out of it. And it's just ruining bass fishing for a lot of people. Just like me, it's just no fun staring at a screen, but I got to do it, or I'm not going to win in certain situations. Just like, it's not even really certain situations. It's about 90% of the time now. If you ain't using it, you're getting beat. If you're not scoping, you're hoping. I mean, that's just what it is. That is the latest. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash, a lot of bad comments, but you guys go right ahead, bash me away. That's part of it. You got your opinions. Everybody's entitled to them. And if you guys do think I'm all right, please comment and subscribe to the channel, and let's keep this movement going, and let's get this out there. Thank you, guys.